Hello, you are welcome to the Channel 1 Newsroom. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 5 Ola Hansen Lane at Tesano here in Accra. I am Charles Owusu. Coming up. Ghana Bar Association President urges vigilance after historic suspension of Chief Justice.
The bar must continue to monitor the situation and not hesitate to express our opinion on it where the circumstances.
Also coming up, former Vice President Dr. Mahmud Byam blames arrogance of power, economic hardships, and party divisions for NPP's 2024 election defeat.
Yasu na eyeti. Yasu eti. Yentie asem. Party for country say. Yenye reshuffle. 8 years. Yentie.
We'll also bring you an exclusive report on the hidden struggles of Accra's sanitation workers. And later, Pope Francis laid to rest at St. Mary Major Basilica, honoring historic final wish. Thank you for choosing the Channel 1 Newsroom. Let us now get into the details of our stories. And President of the Ghana Bar Association, Akokavi, has urged members to remain vigilant and monitor developments closely following the suspension of the Chief Justice. She made the call earlier today in Accra at the Ghana Bar Association's 2025 media conference. There are more details in this report.
The suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has sparked widespread public debate and uncertainty about what lies ahead. Addressing participants at the Ghana Bar Association's 2025 media conference, President of GBA Akokavi called on members to take an active role in proposing reforms to strengthen the enforcement of guidelines for the impeachment of Article 71 holders under the 1992 Constitution. She emphasized that such measures are essential to protect judges from arbitrary removal processes.
This is a novel one in our history as a country, and we, the bar, must continue to monitor the situation and not hesitate to express our opinion on it where the circumstances demand. It is important that in such matters, justice is not only done, but manifestly be seen to have been done. The epilogue of the judgment called for the formulation of rules of procedure for the impeachment of Article 71 office holders in the conduct of proceedings under Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. The judgment concluded, and I quote, "Judges be accorded a fair measure of justice, fairness, and equity in all deliberations that affect them." It is about time that these guidelines were produced in order to eliminate arbitrariness in such proceedings, which ought to be held expeditiously and possibly in open court, given the necessary publicity such matters attract. The bar must take the lead.
Former Deputy Attorney General Dinah Sunabadapa stressed the urgent need to restructure Ghana's legal education system.
That level of, at the nascent stage of the legal practice, I realized by experience and by evidence that they're able to absorb most of the things we talk about here, public interest litigation, pro bono work, everything that we are discussing at that level, it sinks and it sinks well. And so my view is that thankfully we would usually engage within the bench, the bar, and the faculty of law in our discussions. I think that now that these issues have become topical, they should be expressed somehow at the nascent level of our legal education. And believe you me, we'll have a crop of lawyers that are coming, first of all, who recognize and appreciate what it means the parameters of it and the importance of it. And so I agree with you that I'm happy to point, I think some of the faculties have now started these clinical work seminars. Those are the things we should be working in. And perhaps we should even leave it to the faculties themselves. The bar can collaborate with them to set the guidance on how these should be done.
On the issue of judicial integrity and corruption, senior partner at AB and David Africa, David Owusu advocated for law firms to train their lawyers on anti-money laundering practices and how to identify warning signs.
In respect of corruption generally, there's a lot I think lawyers can do. I don't know how many lawyers made a conscious effort to KYC their clients. It's very important. Now we are subject to the law on anti-money laundering and financial intelligence, and we are persons who are supposed to report. But you come to report if you are not KYC your client. A lot happening, and they know that lawyers are a conduit. So we are a very key part in ensuring that anti-corruption, transparency, etc. But it's only when the bar puts in place systems and standards that can guide us and prevent that. Why should a lawyer not record his time sheets? As an example, it doesn't mean you are billing with time sheets. The very definition of the bar on fee says that it is the value of the time value of the services you render. It's in the bar, fees. So you have to show that this is what I am doing. It's as simple as that. So if there is a problem, then you can produce a record.
Here at the 2025 Mid-Year Conference by the Ghana Bar Association, conversations have been had on how to expand the role of legal professionals in national development, and also recommendations have been made to make the legal space more effective and efficient. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I am Ijubi Wiafe Akintin.
Meanwhile, a law professor at the University of Ghana School of Law, Professor Kwadwo, has called for either the abolition or a substantial empowerment of the Council of State following the suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. Professor Appiah raised concerns over what he describes as persistent political interference in the activities of the Council of State. Channel 1 News' Juliana Odame Asari reports.
The suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Isaba Tokonu by President John Dramani Mahama after the Council of State established a prima facie case based on 3 separate petitions seeking her removal has drawn widespread criticisms. Legal practitioners, political parties, and civil society organizations have challenged the Council's decision with allegations of undue influence by the ruling government. Among the critics is Professor Kwadwo Appiah, a professor of law at the University of Ghana. Speaking on Channel 1 TV's weekend news analysis program, The Big Issue, he argued that the institution should either be scrapped entirely or have its powers significantly strengthened to meet its original purpose.
I agree with the view that the council should be abolished completely. But even if it is not, their powers should be increased and there should be measures put in place to ensure the neutrality of the composition so that when they give a decision or advice, it should be as binding as possible.
Former Member of Parliament for Asante Akim North, Andy Appiah noted that the Council of State faces difficulties in making independent decisions due to the current mode of election and appointment of its members.
And we all knew how people were even elected into a Council of State. Do you remember what happened in Kumasi? And somebody got re-elected.
But that election didn't conclude.
Yes, but I mean,
but that was just one out.
You think that is
that was just one out.
The same situation happened in many places. So this Council of State, as Prof was saying, cannot be independent.
However, Abraham Amaleba, Director of Conflict Resolution for the National Democratic Congress, countered that the Council of State operates independently. He cited the instance of a council member who recused themselves from deliberations on one of the petitions as evidence of impartiality.
An institutional
yes, has abstained
in respect of one of the petitions.
One of the petitions, yes. So it tells you that if there
that abstention, if it's true, is very huge.
That abstention, if it is true,
and very rich.
If it is true, simply means that the council is independent.
As the processes for the removal of the Chief Justice continue, will the framers of the Constitution review the powers or abolish the Council of State completely, as raised by critics? Well, that will be determined as the days go by. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I am Juliana Odami.
You're still watching the Channel 1 Newsroom here on Channel 1 TV. Let's now focus on party politics because the NPP's 2024 presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmud Byam, has attributed the party's defeat in the 2024 general elections to arrogance in governance, the rising cost of living, lack of ministerial reshuffle, the controversial e-levy, and the financial haircut resulting from the debt restructuring program. Now speaking at the Kwadwo Technical University Auditorium as he launched his nationwide thank you tour, Dr. Byam rejected claims that his religious affiliations caused the defeat, instead pointing to internal divisions and numerous uncompleted projects. Channel 1 News' Western Regional Correspondent Kwesi reports.
Dr. Mahmud Byam, the NPP flag bearer for the 2024 presidential election, accompanied by party executives, including the party chairman, general secretary and parliamentarians, launched the party's nationwide tour in the Western region with a rally at the Kwadwo Technical University Auditorium attended by party supporters. After expressing gratitude to the party's rank and file for their efforts in the recent election, Dr. Byam outlined the reasons behind the NPP's significant defeat in the 2024 general elections, responding to an alleged leaked report from the Mike Okwue's committee, which partially blamed his religious affiliations for the loss. Dr. Byam instead pointed to the party's arrogance and the e-levy as contributing factors.
All the studies are so far. The big issues are one, cost of living. Niema bo ekosoro ahochiri ebai. The kanu eye adia. Your friend arrogance of power. Express yasu na ayeti. Yasu eti yetie asem. Party for country say yenye reshuffle. And yes, sir. 8 years yanti party for country say yempe e-levy. E-levy no ebe hagi. The Tosomiansa Party for country said haircuts no debt restructure no DDEP. Somewhat in answer. Say sad debt restructuring no a bit because most of them are pensioners. And Omampenibe announced said there will be no haircut. Samokai. Ghana for in ING. But
Former NPP parliamentarian for Ascent Central, Kennedy Ohine Japong, echoed calls for party unity as a strategy to secure victory in the 2028 general election. He urged the NPP to grant amnesty to Alan Chamantin and Paul Afoko, stating that this will be crucial for reorganizing and uniting the party for future success.
Regional and national executives said, Obama amnesty from Afoko, Alan, to everybody that has been suspended. Obama amnesty. Young Frau Obama, Nyantakyi, say it yes, sir. The catch now. You're suspending a nice unit or ye or back or Monsieur Four or number 4. Oh, we have said the Panu now and to about
NPP General Secretary Justin Frimpong Kodia stated that the party has no intention of making the Michael Kwei Committee report public and urged MPP supporters to remain measured in their public statements.
Michael Kwei mo edom report no abring party. Omode baye no National Council edutum. Ohona no eti abedeku a from Constitutional Amendment Committee say omontrans Michael Kwei so abedeku the report about the amendment. Yo akwa bi wo kwa manko Michael Kwei no so omo proposals for decide ya committee ni kan nyina mbo na meboa July ye no extraordinary delegate conference na party ni goshia na ye constitution the BSS sakra obam mama party na nya hodi no omonhwe no montupa na mo Michael Kwei krata odi abeye no ye tia sese krata no yetimi mfa embeto aboti sabi your politics near you. I can't say now.
Let's stay with the New Patriotic Party. We're joined in studio by spokesperson for the Dr. Bawumia 2024 campaign team and presently an aide to the former president, Dennis Miracle Sabaji. Grateful to you, Dennis, for joining us here on the Channel 1 Newsroom.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you
on
again.
a wet evening.
We're grateful that you are able to join us.
Sure.
This tour, one may ask, what's the point? I mean, the flag bearer lost the election, so what's the thank you tour all about? Why do you need to go on a tour to thank people?
I mean, several reasons. You know, even as part of our Ghanaian custom, gratitude is a very, very important thing for every Ghanaian. And so if you go into an election like we did in 2024, and you have over 4.8 million Ghanaians queuing to vote for you, and you clock 41.75% of the votes, I think it's proper and fair for you to go back to these people and say thank you for showing that faith in a vision that I shared and the proposals that I made. As part of the thank you tour is to also engage our party folks to reorganize, rebuild and restructure. And so you realize that even this thank you tour is coming after the party is done with its review process. Okay. And so as at now, you don't just go and speculate. You go meeting the people knowing exactly what the issues were. And the whole essence of the review was not to compile lamentations and complaints. The review was for us to see what we did right, what we could have done better, and what we need to do going into the future. And so armed with all of these information, now we can engage the party people, the general populace across the country, and start the rebuilding process. This is something that has also become a convention in our political dispensation. I mean, which year? In the year 2009, when Nana Kwadwo lost the 2008 elections, he had to embark on a thank you tour. In 2013, he embarked on a thank you tour for the people's support in 2012. In 2016, when President Mahama lost, he had to go on a thank you tour. In 2020, he had to do it. It's simply to express gratitude to the people. I mean, whether you lose or win, remember that there were millions of people who believed in your vision, who spent energy, time, and resources to support your proposition for the country's development. And you must go to them and express gratitude to them.
Right. But it looks like this is going to be quite eventful. It's early days yet into this tour, and already the flag bearer is making the headlines. I mean, he mentioned arrogance of power, DDEP, a host of other reasons for which he believes that the party lost the elections. He says based on some research that the party has conducted. I mean, it's mind-boggling that the NPP knew all these things. Your party faithful had complained to you about these things, and yet you ignore them all through the 4 years, and you lost miserably in the election. How are the people supposed to keep faith with you now?
I think with the benefits of hindsight, we are all wise. You know that. With the benefits of hindsight, everybody is wiser. And what the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmud Byam, is basically saying that having done the review, having moved across the country, listened to the people and heard the people, it is quite obvious that there are certain things we could have done better. And if you have a leader that is able to admit such shortfalls, then that is a leader you can trust. Because that is a leader that acknowledges that once you acknowledge your challenge, you are like 50% solving it. Because then you're going to be more receptive to the propositions to deal with it. And so he's basically telling the party people what all of us, not just one individual, but all of us as a party in government failed to do, which contributed, not entirely all the reasons, but contributed to our loss. And I mean, high cost of living is something that everybody acknowledges. When we were in power, we were even acknowledging high cost of living. He himself, Dr. Mahmud Byam, acknowledged high cost of living, for which reason he made certain proposals to deal with that from 2025 going. He's also always had issues with A-levy. Yeah. And he's on public record indicating that he doesn't think that we should, under any circumstance, place any form of taxes or levies on digital transactions. And so if he's outlining these things, having come out as some of the reasons for our loss, I think it's a way to go. It's a better way to rebuild as an organization than to gloss over them and pretend as if they didn't exist. And if you sit in these party meetings, you realize that once these things are highlighted and come up, the party people receive them better, because then they feel that, oh, we have actually come to the realization that these things that we may have ignored in the past actually contributed to our loss. And so moving forward, how do we deal with it? So moving forward, how to deal with it is also captured in our review document. But you know, that is not something for public consumption, because you have your competitors in the market. So we are going to look at that, and then it will serve as a guide going into the future to make our party stronger in our next government.
He also did mention that some of the utterances of the contestants in the flag bearership race was used against the party. I mean, we saw adverts, commercials of, especially Kennedy Japong, some of the things he said against Dr. Byam and the administration being used against your party during the campaign. What's the relationship between Dr. Byam and Kennedy Japong, and how is it going to look like going forward?
Dr. Byam is a complete unifier. He has one of the biggest hearts a human being can have, as I've seen. And so you'd realize that even before he embarked on this tour with the party national executives, he called for every single party person to get on board, and actually sent out a direct invitation to all the party leaders he contested with in the 2023 primaries. He has a fantastic relationship with every single party member. He doesn't bear grudges. He doesn't hold issues against individuals or persons. He has a very open mind, very receptive to all manner of criticism. The only advocacy Dr. Mahmud Byam is making is that usually when we are going for internal contest, and as it is with every political contest, you surely have to throw in one or two jabs. You know, you have to do a few negative things to be able to look better than the opponent. And he is of the view that that is not the only way to run a contest, and that you can run contests purely on ideas and still succeed. And so if you're going into an internal contest and you throw a lot of mud at ourselves as party people, all we are doing is to arm our main opponent. Because in all of these things, in the internal contest, no MPP member is your competitor. Our real competitor in the political dispensation in this country is the NDC. And so he's only advocating, and he's on a very active advocacy against internal mud throwing at each other, not just at their level, even from the polling station level through the electoral area, region, constituency. Let's just protect each other and see each other as brothers and sisters who belong to the same fraternity, and rather set our eyes on the NDC, who are our competitors. And when that happens, we minimize and reduce the level of ammunition we give to our main competitor. Because otherwise, when you are done with the internal contest and you all rally together, your competitor now basically holds all the ammunition you threw at each other, and they will simply be throwing them at you, and it becomes very, very difficult for you to get yourself out of it. And I think that from today's engagement, it is the biggest takeaway for us as a political party. The fact that Dr. Mahmud Byam is advocating that we should reduce the level of damage we do to ourselves when we are going for internal contests, so that we do not arm our opponents. That is the way to strengthen our party going into the future.
So now you're engaging party supporters, party faithfuls. That group is quite easy to convince because they are yours. But there is a chunk of the floating voters who did not vote for you, for which reason you lost the elections. What's the strategy going forward to mend the bridge between the NPP and the floating voters?
If you read the invitation, the notice we put out, it's not just the party people the events we are holding across the regions are not invitation-only events. So today, for instance, in Takrady, you have market women, you have some fisher folks, you have some driver unions all coming to the event and also expressing their views about some of the issues. So it is not just an MPP event. Of course, you have the MPP fraternity from the polling station, constituency, regional level coming, but the general public is not and stopped from attending this event. And today's engagement in the Western region saw a lot of the general public from different groupings participating in the conversation as well.
All right, we'll take a breather now. When we return, I'll ask you about something Kennedy Japong said at the engagement today. Okay. He talked about giving amnesty to all the people that have been suspended in the party, like essentially asking the party to bring everyone on board going forward. We'll discuss that when we return. But you're still watching the Channel 1 newsroom here on Channel 1 TV. When we come back, Accra sanitation workers face daunting challenges over delayed salaries and low wages. We'll be back shortly. Please stay with us.
Poverty makes you do what you otherwise would not do. Wealth makes you live the way you wish to live. But revenge cancels the lines between poverty and riches.
It's either you're saying something progressive, or I'll just tell your wife that I'm carrying your child.
Where is my father? Now that he's coming closer to the community,
My puppy go figure your own plans, so I go figure my own.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Life is a celebration of moments. Big and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink at a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Celebrate every moment with Piva Drink. Refreshment for every occasion. Piva Drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. This is the Channel 1 newsroom on Channel 1 TV. Aide to NPP flag bearer for the 2024 elections, Dr. Mahmud Byam, is still in studio with us. Dennis Miracles Abuaji. Dennis, before we went on the break, I was asking you about something Kennedy Japong said, that bring everybody back on board, even the people that you have suspended, grant them amnesty. That would be quite difficult to do if you look at the relationship between the party and some of these people, the Afokos, Alan Tremateng, all these people. That would be very difficult to do.
I mean, there's nothing difficult about granting an amnesty in a political party and getting a lot of people on board. I mean, that is the advocacy. That is the position of the party anyway.
Okay.
That is the position. However, you know, you grant amnesty to, he's asking that we grant amnesty to those we have suspended. But if you look at it critically, it's not all the names he mentioned that are suspended by the party.
Okay.
So you cannot grant amnesty to somebody who willingly resigned from the party. I mean, Mr. Allen Chairman was not suspended. In fact, he had nobody in the party had an issue with him. He willingly decided to leave the party and go form another political party. And so for him, amnesty doesn't really apply to him. He would have to say, I am willing to come back. And the party is ready.
The party is ready to welcome him.
Yes, I mean, a political party needs a lot of people, a lot of numbers. And so as many people that would want to come, who wouldn't want everybody coming on board? And so it's a call that everybody in the party agrees to, and it's a call that the national leadership also agrees to. And I think the party has already indicated its open door readiness to receive everybody and let everybody get on board. But of course, not all the names he mentioned on suspension. Mr. Polafoko has not been suspended from the party. He's still a member of the MPP, so he hasn't left the party. His issue only had to do with the position he was holding, but he wasn't suspended. You remember it was together with Mr. Kwabena Japong. And Mr. Kwabena Japong has been one of the biggest advocacy of this party since then. He was not suspended from the party. It was with his position at the time. So Polafoko is still a member of the party. He hasn't been suspended from the party. Allen Chairman has not been suspended from the party. He has left the party to go and form another political party. But just the position of the party across the country is that everybody that is willing and ready and believes in the ideologies of the new patriotic party, the party is ready to
Alan
receive
returns
everybody.
today, NPP would welcome him.
Why not? We are still waiting. If General Mosquito should leave the NDC and come to the MPP, would receive him.
You know that's
how much
not
more?
happening.
It can happen. Why not? We've seen a lot of people, big shots, leave their parties and form new political parties. So that is possible.
Some people say that this thank you tour is using the party structures to prepare the ground for Dr. Bawumia to return in the next flag bearer elections.
Every thank you tour in all political parties, since the time, I mean, let me just recollect from 2009, has always had this controversy. So this is not new. I am just looking at the story here. Nana, thank you tour not to test Akufo-Addo's popularity, MPP, 16 September 2013. Nanalu using thank you tour to test his popularity, MPP, 22nd September 2013. So it's normal. The NDC in 2017, people like Dr. Dofo and Co also had an issue with Mr. Mahama when he was doing his thank you tour. It's normal. It's something that always comes with it. But the fact of the matter is that you would always have the flag bearer of the immediate ended elections being the face of the thank you tour. Because what are we doing? We are thanking the people for stepping out to come and vote for us. Who did they come to vote for? It's the flag bearer. And so surely you should expect the flag bearer to be out there thanking the people, even without the party. In fact, this is the first time in any of even the political parties that you've had the flag bearer actually say that I want to join hands with the national party and also all aspirants within the internal elections to go on a thank you tour. This is the first time. Okay. Typically, it is just the flag bearer who is going out there to thank people for queuing to vote for him. And so it's nothing new, but the controversy is also not a new thing. It's always been there. It's an age-long controversy that always comes with, thank you to us.
All right, I'm grateful to you, Dennis. Dennis Miracle Zabwaje is aide to the NPP flag bearer for the 2024 general elections, Dr. Bawumia. Thank you for coming. Away from that, rainstorms swept through parts of Ghana on Saturday, April 26, 2025, causing widespread power outages across the affected areas. The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, confirmed the disruptions in a statement assuring customers that engineers are working diligently to repair faults and restore power supply. According to the ECG, the downpour damaged sections of their network, leading to the outages. The company apologized for the inconvenience caused and assured affected customers that efforts are underway to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Now, in some other news, in the quiet hours before dawn, as Accra sleeps, thousands of young sanitation workers are already hard at work sweeping the streets clean. Yet behind this daily routine lies a harsh truth: low wages, delayed salaries, and a growing call for justice. In this report, Channel 1 News' Nyantakyi reveals the hidden struggles faced by those who keep our capital city spotless while remaining invincible themselves.
Every morning, just as the first rays of sunlight kiss the skyline of Accra, a quiet workforce takes to the streets. Dressed in reflective vests and armed with brooms, thousands of sanitation workers begin their day, sweeping pavements, clearing gutters, and trying to keep the capital city of Ghana clean. They are part of the Youth Employment Agency's Sanitation Module, a program designed to offer people jobs while addressing Accra's growing sanitation crisis. But behind this well-intentioned initiative lies a troubling reality. For 6 days a week, these workers sweep the same dusty stretches of road, battling heat, fumes, and public indifference. Yet, for their tireless efforts, they receive a monthly stipend of just 250 Ghana cedis. The lion's share, 600 Ghana cedis per worker, is paid to Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, the private contractor responsible for managing the initiative. Even the modest 250 Ghana cedis isn't guaranteed on time.
School fees. Da mimi ndepo yenkwa edwuma po a ekokrom akwahwe a bola nkofo ogiti we fiefie oje be sisi so ye be so ahmache ye be pra nkofo bini tol nyina ya sese bola nyina aja akọ ne nyina onhu ye ho bobo.
This, however, is more than just late payments or low wages. Workers also report a complete absence of medical insurance, despite being exposed daily to unsanitary conditions, hazardous materials, and long hours under the sun.
Why I need to more doctor no bem insurance bem no bem ko gbo free ko tenu atiti dua no ba ni hela mobo de nche shikapo no ka ba doctor eji wale sanike hawo.
This has sparked public outrage. Many Ghanaians have begun to question the fairness of the arrangements between Afriyie and Zoom Lion, calling for a thorough review and in some cases outright termination of the contract. In response to the growing criticism, Dr. Joseph Japong, executive chairman of the Japong group of companies which oversees Zoom Lion, has defended the company.
The Afriyie contract is here, and the contract is Afriyie who fixed the fee. It's not us. So what the contract stipulates in 8.1, the agency shall pay an amount of 258 cedis per month to each beneficiary. It's not Zoom Lion, the agency.
Amidst these challenges, the sanitation workers show up every morning armed with their tools and a quiet determination to make their city clean, even if the system fails to treat them with dignity. But is such a contract worth renewing?
We are at a point of taking a decision. One, as to whether to review and amend the previous contract between Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, who manages our sanitation model, or two, to entirely terminate the contract pending the board approval, or three, is to increase the basic salary. As I have stated earlier, that I shall not on any occasion negotiate any contract that will fall below the minimum wage.
Management of waste management firm Zoom Lion Ghana Limited is optimistic that with the relevant support from the government, it would be able to deliver on its mandate of ensuring a clean society. Reporting for Channel 1 News, Nyantakyi Okai.
Let's now focus on roads. Users on the stretch from Tema Community 1 to the Tema Harbour and Meridian Port Services are urgently appealing to the government to repair the deteriorating road. They stressed that this critical link, vital for business activities at the port, should have been properly tarred and maintained to facilitate the smooth movement of goods to and through the harbour. Daniel Odromensa has more in this report.
At 12:15 p.m. on Friday, April 25, 2025, when a news team visited the stretch, several articulated trucks carrying containers were seen slowing down considerably as they struggled through deep potholes scattered along the road. Sibamoro, a long-time user of the route, was spotted assisting his relative in moving a truck that had become stuck in a pothole. He expressed deep frustration over the road's condition, describing how it makes commuting extremely difficult. Ibrahim Awini, a commercial motorcycle rider, shared that the road has been deteriorating steadily over the past 8 years, with the situation worsening dramatically when it rains.
For right now, if it rains for right now, here over me, but sometimes it cause accident for here. You understand me? Plenty accident they happen for here until the two I have to talk. Maybe go back. Maybe they can't do the road fast because of the road. The road they do accident too much until they will make fast and can't do the road fast.
Prosper Ifa, a resident, pointed out a specific section of the road that continues to develop potholes despite periodic repair efforts by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority.
About 20-something years. Tembia, I don't think you had a crow. Tembia, see, yes, it's a crowd. My contractors had that they are more a big good, and some the machine about the yellow correct. Say we are, and so no still, Sane, Samuel. It is a free man crying about up to here. A Hamkwana, 10 years, am I a cause accident? And then come to for runabout to Nahankasa so. Instead of walking a castle into no. Tembia also to me see I no crown, so cry some coa to the runner motus no. And so see
They urge the government to act swiftly and fix the road to prevent further hardship.
But every day below the way the car the sport here, master, is too bad. It's too bad until they watch here and do the road fine. Because if they can't do the road fine, always here will be poor, you understand?
Meanwhile, the Department of Urban Roads has announced that plans are well advanced to rehabilitate the stretch.
For the drivers, the nature of this road has become unbearable. As such, they are calling on the relevant authorities to see to the reconstruction of this road. For Channel 1 News, I am Daniel Odromensa.
You're still watching the Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 TV. Still ahead. Pope Francis laid to rest at St. Mary Major Basilica, honoring historical final wish. We'll be back shortly. Please don't go away.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes! So, what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet influencer. Another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
So much love in the air. What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us for this unforgettable night.
Paw Patrol is on.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead. The megastar is here. Absolutely sensational.
Let's go!
Just taking a trip down memory lane.
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay connected to DSTV.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy, chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm the rent emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Thank you for staying with us here on the Channel 1 Newsroom. Now, drivers and passengers commuting along the Damongo Solar Bole Road are appealing to the government to urgently maintain and reconstruct the deteriorating road in the Savannah region. They complain that the poor condition of the road is making travel increasingly difficult and hazardous for both passengers and vehicles, especially with the onset of the rainy season.
The Damongo Solar Road, part of the 147.5 kilometer Fufulusu Solar double-sealed surface road project, was constructed in 2012 and commissioned in 2015. Today, the once praised road has severely deteriorated, becoming a death trap for both travelers and vehicles. Speaking to Channel 1 News, some drivers reported that armed robbery cases along the stretch have become rampant, calling for increased security patrols to safeguard lives.
Bad nature of the road is also, is exposing us to robbery, because we get to a point that the car would not be able to move as fast as possible, and that exposes all of us as passengers to robbers.
At least we need more securities for the road, because the road is too bad. Instead of you to use 2 hours to Sola or Bole, you use more than 4 hours to reach that place.
They also lamented the poor road conditions frequently cause vehicles breakdowns, making it necessary for government to intervene urgently to maintain and reconstructing the road.
This thing destroys tires all the time. A lot of cars get accidents through the passing through here, and with this kind of roads, if you ply through one or in a month or so, you will need to get new tires, and this is terrible.
Passengers also expressed frustrations over the long hours now spent on the road due to its poor state, which has led to a sharp rise in transportation fares.
Previously, the charges that they were taking us were lower, but I want to believe that because it costs them also. If you use your car on this road and go back about 1 or 2 times, you will need to change some spare parts. And of course, that cost build up, they would have to push it on us as passengers.
They further highlighted the difficulties in transferring pregnant women and sick patients from Bole to Tamale, stressing the agent's need for the road repairs to facilitate safer and quicker travel.
In fact, the road is not good at all. We are suffering. Even if they are to transfer a pregnant woman to Damongo or Bole for delivering, it always be a problem because the road is not good at all.
Mumuni Mohammed, the assembly member for Kabampe and the presiding member for the West Gonja Municipal Assembly, stated that deterioration of the road began while the contractor was still on site.
The entire road was constructed in 2012. The contract was awarded to two Chinese companies. One was China Water and Electrical Company Limited. Then we have the China Harbour and Engineering Limited. 10 years down the line, portions of the roads has deteriorated so badly. And then because of that, it has made commuters and vehicle owners so much worried.
They are pleading to government to come to their aid, to assist them, and also to the sector minister, roads and highways, to also look up to it for their lives and safety. It's really paramount. Reporting for Channel 1 News, Malik Gazari, Kabampe, Savannah region.
Let's now head to Tamale, where doctors at the teaching hospital there have called off their strike, which began on April 23, following an incident during a visit by Health Minister Kwadwo. The decision came after meetings with the Parliamentary Health Committee, the overlord of Dagban, and the Ghana Medical Association. The minister expressed regret over the incident and pledged support, including the immediate donation of equipment and medical supplies. Emergency services were restored on April 25 and full services have resumed effectively. The doctors say they will now work with hospital management and other stakeholders to improve conditions and ensure better healthcare delivery. Now, away from that refreshing news, Pope Francis has been laid to rest at the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome, honoring his final wishes to be buried outside the Vatican, the first pontiff in over a century to do so. His coffin was transported from St. Peter's Square at the Vatican to his final resting place following a funeral attended by an estimated 250,000 mourners, including world leaders and monarchs. The beloved pontiff passed away on Easter Monday, April 21, at the age of 88. There is more in this report. The funeral rites began with a mass at the Vatican, drawing thousands of faithful from across the globe. Cardinal Giovanni Battista, Dean of the College of Cardinals, delivered a homily reflecting on Pope Francis's enduring commitment to the causes he championed, caring for migrants, ending wars, and protecting the environment. On Saturday morning, over 250,000 people gathered at St. Peter's Square and its surroundings to bid a final farewell to Pope Francis during the Requiem Mass. Following the service, his coffin was carried in a solemn procession through the streets of Rome to the Basilica of St. Mary Major as thousands lined the route in tribute. Pope Francis will be remembered as a transformative figure in the Catholic Church. Since his election in March 2013, he became known as the People's Pope for his tireless advocacy for the poor, marginalized, and for a more inclusive and a compassionate church. Among the dignitaries present at the funeral were Prince William, U.S. President Donald Trump, former U.S. President Joe Biden, and French President Emmanuel Macron. The event also saw a significant moment as President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met for the first time since their tense encounter at the White House earlier in February. After the Mass and the solemn procession, the Pope's coffin arrived at St. Mary Major Basilica, where he was laid to rest. Meanwhile, in Ghana and many other parts of the world, parishes held prayer vigils to honor the late pontiff's memory. In Accra, a special Requiem Mass was celebrated at the Apostolic Nunciature, presided over by His Excellency Monsignor Julian Kabori in collaboration with the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference. As the Church mourns, attention now turns to the future. More than 1 billion Catholics worldwide await the election of a new Pope. Around 120 cardinal electors under the age of 80 will soon gather in the Sistine Chapel for a conclave to select the next Supreme Pontiff. Now, Richard Akokavi has been elected as the new president of the Ghana Olympic Committee following the GOC elective congress held on Saturday, April 26 at the Accra International Conference Center. Akokavi secured an impressive 44 votes, defeating his opponent, Michael Agri, who received 19 votes. Gabi Ofei from the Channel 1 Sports Desk reports.
Richard Akokavi was elected president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, securing a commanding 44 votes to defeat Michael Agri, who garnered 19 votes in the GOC elective congress. This victory marks a remarkable turnaround for Akokavi, who narrowly lost the 2021 presidential bid to then incumbent Benunu Mensah by just 7 votes. Akokavi's leadership experience as GOC General Secretary from 2017 to 2021 has now paved the way for his 4-year term as president. Kofi Adams, Minister for Sports and Recreation, officiated a swearing-in ceremony for Akokavi and other newly elected members.
I, having been elected to the office of the Ghana Olympic Committee, / Commonwealth Games Association of Ghana, do in the name of Almighty God.
Speaking after the election, Richard Akokavi pledged to empower athletes and invest in women's sports.
Athlete empowerment. The athletes' voices need to be heard clearly. They are on every committee, on the executive board, we must hear from them because we are there for the athletes. So that's very important. Also, women, building the capacity of women. We need to do that. There are very few. I know today, only I think 2 women or so on the board. That's not enough. We need to do more for the women. And then what is important for me also is that there's too many disputes, too much, acrimony. We need to come together as one body, as a GOC team, so that we can build and plan for the next 4 years for sports in Ghana.
Ernest Danso, president of the Ghana Baseball and Softball Federation, was elected 3rd vice president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, securing 43 votes against Mohamed Mahadi's 19. Mauku Afajinu and Frederick Latte ran unopposed for 1st and 2nd vice president, respectively. For the 5 Olympic sports positions, Delphine Akwe, Ghana Swimming Association, George Lamte, Richmond Kwaku, George Tete, and Kamal Sule were elected. However, Prosper Harrison-Ado, General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, fell short with 28 votes, missing a seat on the executive board despite a strong campaign. In his closing remarks, Minister for Sport and Recreation, Kofi Adams, urged the newly elected members to prioritize completing the stalled Olymp Africa Juvenile Sports Excellence Center at Amasaman, a key project for youth sports development.
I've been given the responsibility. The Amasaman project, please, when you sleep and you have to keep awake, that should keep you awake. And let's see how we can complete it and put it into place.
Now, the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okrekum, has been appointed as the 2nd vice president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF. CAF president Dr. Patrice Motsepe announced Okrekum's appointment during a press conference held here in Accra on April 26, 2025, following a CAF Executive Committee meeting. During the announcement, Dr. Motsepe commended Kurt Okrekum for his outstanding contributions to the development of African football.
My brother Kurt, and just say how proud I am of the good work he's doing, and I'll say to Kurt what I say to every other president in every other nation in Africa: when the Black Stars wins, we are happy. So you're doing good work. And also I want to thank our head of state, President Mahama, for the meeting we had, and he's an outstanding leader and is doing excellent work. His commitment to supporting football in Ghana and to work together with our brother Kurt is excellent news for the future, because we do need this partnership between government and football. Vice President is homegrown. One of our most outstanding, and has made enormous contribution to football in Ghana and on the African continent. And we are so proud that, when I arrived here, Ghana didn't have a vice president. When I'm leaving here, Ghana has a 2nd vice president. Our brother Kurt, who's president of football here, is the 2nd vice president of CAF.
And that'll be all for this package of the Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 TV. I am Charles Owusu. Thank you for watching.